Xapo is tucked away in a corner of Casemates Square, the building a reflection of its operations. The Heritage Award-winning vault combines security and history with cutting-edge design and technology. Its public gallery, which houses artworks and historical prints, materialises the metaphoric bridge between the old and the new.
So we decided that we were going to bridge the Bitcoin space with traditional financial services, so to enable people to be able to use Bitcoin as an asset class, as a way of storing value, or as a way of transacting. So essentially, we've developed this idea of Bitcoin just being something that lives in wallets or exchanges into something that you might use every day as a financial instrument.
The building can be imposing, perhaps because it's different from your traditional high street bank. So is it aimed at the local market?
Bitcoin attracts people who want financial independence. And as a result, we thought, well, the equivalent of that in banking is this idea of an offshore bank account, Switzerland being the most famous of all of the offshore financial centers. So we felt that somewhere like Gibraltar would allow us to combine this idea of an offshore bank together with the DLT regime that came out here in Gibraltar and merged the two together. So really what we're after is not necessarily a local market, but we're after customers who think about Bitcoin as an investment and a long-term asset class. Somewhere where you can protect and grow your wealth and keep it safe.
One advantage of the Rock is that it was the first jurisdiction to be regulated. One advantage of Bitcoin investment is that all transactions are recorded on the database on the blockchain. Investing, says Stuart, should not be scary, but crypto should be a long-term investment where people invest what they can afford to lose for high returns.
And the technology has advanced significantly. So there are vendor providers out there that will literally risk profile every transaction, where it's come from, where it's going, and give you alerts. This is being used for ransomware. This is being used for money laundering. So we essentially blacklist all those wallets. So you're not allowed to send that to Xapo or from Xapo to those accounts. So in my experience, and again, I've worked in banking for a very long time, the technology that blockchain provides is significantly higher than anything that a traditional bank can do when it comes to anti-money laundering. So even though you're right that that was sort of the early days of crypto, there was that risk, it has advanced significantly, and I would say that DLT blockchain technology provides for better money laundering monitoring than traditional financial services.
There is a risk, I'm sure a lot of banks will tell you this, of over-regulation. Do you think that you do have a level playing field being in Gibraltar with that regulation?
That's a good question. I think my fear for Gibraltar is, sometimes being first doesn't always give you a competitive advantage. Other people will tend to copy, whatever worked and improve on what didn't. And I think that there's an element of, speed to market, innovation. These are things that are critical for a small jurisdiction like Gibraltar to stand out from the Dubais, the Hong Kongs, the Singapores of the world, where 5 years ago they didn't have any crypto regulation. Now they do. So, I think Gibraltar needs to be thinking about, okay, how do we make sure that we're well regulated, but that we also allow for innovation and speed to market. And that's a fine balance. You need to control risk, but you also need to allow for growth. Otherwise, there's a fear that you have regulatory paralysis and you can't actually move forward.
The bank has introduced a number of services to meet clients' needs. The aim, again, to keep the familiar and offer traditional financial services with Bitcoin.
One of the things that Bitcoin doesn't do is pay a coupon. There is no yield return from Bitcoin. Very much like gold. You don't get paid interest when you hold gold in custody. And that is something that a lot of our customers want. We tend to attract customers that think of Bitcoin as an investment. They hold it long term. Obviously, there's a capital appreciation that's happened over the last 10 years. But getting interest income is something that would allow them to live out of that interest income. So we've created a fund that does exactly that. The BlackRock ETF that was launched last year created immense opportunities in the institutional space for a bank like us that can bridge crypto and traditional finance to be able to provide lending capabilities to those institutions, and that means that we get a return. So as an investor in the fund, what you can do is essentially keep your Bitcoin safe with us. If you just want it in custody, we've been doing that for 10 years. If you want to earn a return and yield on the Bitcoin, then the fund will allow you to do that as well.
Xapo hopes to expand in the UK over the next few months.